Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and of course, our co-host, GameTime Bryan. What's going on, Bryan? How you doing, man?
Game time, Ryan. What's up, Phil? Otherwise known as the mailman. What's going on, people? How's it? A little
Yeah, we're feeling.
after a Cowboys win, man. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah, I mean, you were probably right on the edge of your seat. I mean, I know I was for a while. I had to kind of walk away for a
Yeah,
little bit, do some chores, come back, because you were right there. You were saying that there was a possibility that there was going to be like a division game. Doesn't matter what. Of course, it's our backup quarterback, so it's not a sleeper type game, a sneaking. Somebody going to come over and take the victory, but it was a hard fought game, and so you were right there on the money, man.
yeah. We both were close. You were actually closer to the score. You had what was your final?
Here,
You
hold
had
on. I
said
got
what,
I got a
twenty
prediction
six
of
to
the
ten.
week here. I
Yeah.
think Carson Wentz could come back out, but again, I really think this defense is going to shut the door there. I think they're going. It's going to be a 28-10 Dallas victory. So I'm with Randy when it
Okay,
comes
so
to
we're
that.
close.
So we're right there. So when I heard it,
Yeah,
I was
we're
like,
close.
okay. When we get kind of close there, I like those because those are the games that we're usually right on there. So I was right there, man. I was really close to the score. 28-10 is what I guessed. And so when I walked away, it was really close. It was like what you were saying. There was going to be close at by halftime, and
Yeah.
and so then I had to walk away because it was definitely shortening my life. And you know, you want them to move, and and to me, where a lot of people see the victory where Cooper Rush had, you know, I see the fact that, you know, what would a Dak done? You know, would he have put 35, 40 points on these guys? You know, is he more capable of that? So there was things that were going on in my head. So how were you feeling along during the game? I saw you nervously through Mark's channel. So how were you feeling?
Yeah. Halftime was a big deal. Like what was gonna I was trying to tell everybody, how I don't know how you feel, Phil, when you watch Dallas, but I feel like I know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be arrogant about it, but I know the team, and it was going to be like, how are they going to come out at halftime? Early on in the third quarter is going to tell you how that game was going to go, and clearly, the message was sent to stop the run, which thank God it was, and get pressure on Carson Wentz because the first half they didn't do much of either. They really did. They got most of their pressure, and I would say after they looked at the film and made their adjustments. That third quarter, when a close game, a divisional game is, if the Commanders comes out and they start running the ball like they were in the first half, hitting, the short passes, taking their shots, then we would have been in trouble. But, Dan Quinn, did what Dan Quinn does and makes, adjustments. So it was good. But
Yeah,
that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, we were right. I think a lot of Cowboy Nation knows that this year is going to go by what the defense is going, and I mean, right there, I mean, the defense is what led the way. There were 10 points in the NFL. It doesn't matter who it is. I mean, I think we can all agree that, you know, it wasn't the greatest competition. It's a team that you should beat, and so to see them put up more points than what's Cooper Rush has been averaging, you know, being the quarterback, it was really, really nice
Yeah.
to see. But at the same time, it's like, you know, will you be able to do this type of stuff during, you know, other elite type of teams? You know, I'm not saying everybody's elite, but you know, you got the Rams and Eagles that have been playing pretty well, and yes, the Eagles obviously almost lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday, and I'm hoping that wakes their eyes, you know, kind of gives them an eye opener a little bit that, you know, they're not the greatest
Yeah.
defense that they're saying that they are.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville is better. I mean,
Jacksonville's
I hate
better.
to come
I
to the
definitely
Eagles'
agree.
defense.
No, it's true.
I
It's
think
true.
Jacksonville is a good team.
They are. They are. Look at what they've been doing.
It was
this year.
disappointing when it was disappointing when the Eagles started rolling because you could see that they finally got their act together. And let's not be Cowboys fans who poo-poo everybody. We don't like them, especially their fans, only because of the arrogance. And it doesn't matter what we've done, we suck, and that's frustrating. The only way to shut them up is to win.
True.
But they got on a roll. Give Eagles credit; they did their job.
They're
I'm
beating the
not
teams
the
they
guy
should.
to say, look at their schedule. You know, they're winning the games they're supposed to win. We knew this game was good. Anybody who knew Dallas knew this was going to be a tough game. So it was all going to be how they were coming at. You know,
The
how they
defense was
came out.
definitely better. Their defense was better, especially at the run, and it kind of showed. You kind of worried a little bit. Was it more of our offensive line, where McGovern coming back? It was him not, meshing with the other guys. Is that the reason why the offensive line goes off, or do you have to give more credit probably to the defensive line of what Washington had compared to what we've faced? I mean, obviously, week number one, that's probably your top tier where you're trying to go, right?
Yeah.
The Buccaneers were definitely bring it. Not saying the Bengals
Yeah.
didn't have stuff, but I mean it was mixed, and obviously the Giants, but Washington definitely has a front. So I mean, it kind of warming you up for what the Rams and Eagles may have.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got JoJo Gonzalez. What's up, JoJo? Loyal Cowboy.
Loyal.
I saw Gina Thorne. Gina, what up? Be careful driving, sweetie. Mary Alvarez. I see Stacy. Roll in reviews. Hey, Stacy, how are you?
Hey, Mary.
Listen, I will say this. My main thing about it is shout out to Mike McCarthy. You could say whatever you want. I heard an insider say that they are basically hooking up. He could buzz in and interject because he has the plays going through his head, and he can hear everything, and he can buzz in. It's not like he's calling plays, but if he doesn't like something, he's been doing it more and more.
Now, who are you talking about? Are we talking about McCarthy?
Yeah, McCarthy.
Okay.
He will buzz in and override a play that he doesn't like, and he supposedly, per Bryan brought us, he's been doing that more and more. That's so right. Over the last couple of games, which is good. I mean, he's a coach. He's an offensive-minded man. But what I'm impressed with McCarthy more than anything yesterday, who the officials were. He knew that they like to call a lot of the ticky-tack stuff downfield, and he made sure that they threw the ball downfield. Mm-hmm. Now, we can get into, I know we normally don't have a list. I write things down I want to talk about, so I'll just start out by saying the Cooper Rush, how teams are playing him is they are doing a lot of single coverage, and if you notice, our running game was not good yesterday. They had 8 men in the box, a lot. Especially, a lot. And Cooper Rush was running into it.
Yeah,
he's going to look at the film.
Yeah, they took
he's
that Buccaneers
going to look at the
approach.
film and say, "What the heck, was I doing running into that?"
Yeah,
Dak's not going to see that. They're not going to give Dak single coverage. They're just not. They like to play zones, drop back, and they have to disguise more. Dak will pick that apart, but. That's the one thing that was frustrating. They kept running into this 8-man front, and Washington is the wrong team to do that. It's crazy,
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I was watching it. I was kind of getting frustrated with the run. And again, even when you saw, McGovern kind of switching spots, going to different areas, it was kind of like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And I kind of want to give a little bit more credit to Washington. And so, but when you continue down that line, let me go to one that I was disappointed in. I was disappointed. Can you really be disappointed? I was disappointed in Dalton Schultz, coming in and kind of just disappears.
He's on my list. He's on my list. So good, we can cross him off now. And go ahead. What about Schultz to you?
Well, I mean. Now, he talks about when they talk about his defense and stuff, he goes, well, I'm not worried about your fantasy points. I'm worried about more of the victories and stuff. But where are you contributing? You're not contributing to the blocking. You're not contributing, obviously, to the passing game. So you're talking about wanting, oh, well, as long as we got the W and stuff. Well, only basketball players get to say that kind of stuff,
Dalton Schultz?
Yeah.
What you did yesterday wasn't worth $10 million a year.
No, exactly.
They could have a rookie. They could have Ferguson Hendershot. Had a better game than he did, just because he had a catch. And I like Dalton Schultz. I'm not saying he can't, but this is where we go back to Dalton Schultz has a relationship with Dak, whereas you know what I mean. That's where that comes in. So yeah, I was disappointed in Dalton. And listen, people, we love the game. We love the out. Keep it real, right? Jason Peters looked 40 yesterday. Jason Peters looked 40. Now, like I told you before, he's a more natural left tackle. But against teams like Washington, who their best players are on the interior, and you're playing guard, well, there that was an issue. It wasn't horrible, but he didn't look like he did before. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week when they play the Rams,
Hmm.
because they're going to bring a different type of front. They're not big and mauling, but of course you have Aaron Donald, who's more of a speed guy. So you know, that's
Yeah,
that was my thing on
that's something to keep an eye
Peters.
on. Yeah, I agree. So as we keep on with the offense, what do you think about the wide receivers? Like, how do you think they like? Okay, Mike said this last week, and I'm gonna jump in on this, and I can't help but think that he was right, and I'm still, I'm still on the fence when it comes to this, but Mike was saying that, that drop seemed to have clicked something on CD Lamb. And I know it's only a game and a half afterwards, but it does really feel like he's kind of it's a different kind of agenda with him. Maybe he's gotten
Yeah,
out of his own little head or something. But
he's still young. He's young, but they played single coverage too, though. We will beat single coverage with our team. If
yeah,
we struggle when we run into zones and you're sitting back there and holding the ball, holding the ball, holding the ball, and then you see some stupid ass check down. But
well,
yeah, CD stepped up big. He was my big player up. CD.
see, I never have
And
a worry about
I
CD getting open because he does do that. It's just when he is open, getting the ball in his hands
yeah,
and making sure
yeah.
he reels it in.
Well, I like when they get their stars involved early. I would have gotten the ball even faster than that. Get
Hmm.
it in his hands and get him up. Get him hit, get him catching. Get him going. I thought that you know, Diggs is starting to be Diggs. He had another INT. I called it. He was going to get an interception. I know it's easy for me to do, but I could just see how he's playing. But not only is he getting interceptions, he's not given the cushion. Now, if you're a speedster or a dynamic receiver, but he owns Terry McLaurin. That whole thing's scary, Terry. That it was anything but scary yesterday. He owns Terry McLaurin. He basically shut him down, and he was playing close enough to get the interception. So Diggs is, I think, going to start going on a roll now where he gets one every week, because these quarterbacks, they don't respect them, or they don't respect them enough, because
My
they're going to keep throwing at him.
So, like, I don't know where I saw the stat. I saw something where it popped up where I saw that he gave up like 200 something yards and everything yesterday. I'm like, yep, so here we go. Doesn't
Really?
we
Is that
don't
what they're saying?
I'm not really sure. I haven't really looked back to see if this is accurate. But from what I
Well, it
saw,
wasn't
when I
Terry
looked back,
McLaurin, so
I saw him smacking balls away. I saw him,
yeah, they
hitting
didn't
on
give up
third and fourth
that.
down. So it's just like, where are you guys
No.
getting this? Is this kickoff? He was on a kickoff
Yeah.
return, and so you're counting all those kickoff return back.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
really sure where they're getting these yardage from. Was it on the way to the stadium? That guy, you didn't block him when he got to the stadium parking lot, and on the way to the locker room, that was all those steps you counted that Diggs give up. I'm not really sure where they're getting
yeah.
all this stuff. So, but when I look at Diggs, I'm right there with you. I think he definitely stood. He stepped up. I mean, he was looking good. He was looking very graceful, honestly. Jumping on, jumping in the air, kind of like a deer, and just kind of swatting that ball away. So, I was definitely liking his play. You saw a guy like Deron Bland coming in for
That was my next
Lewis.
guy,
Yeah,
man.
like, where you go?
Shout out to Deron Bland.
So,
That was good, man. We're on the same wavelength. Yeah.
go ahead, tell
Jordan
me.
Lewis was scratched, and he was doing this pregame workout, and we hope it's not bad, but he injured or tweaked his groin. Don't you hate when you get your groin tweaked? But I'm pumped. But yeah, he tweaked his groin, so they went to Bland and said, "You're up now." I can tell you right now, Bland didn't get any snaps during the week at nickel corner. I can guarantee you that he didn't get any reps. For, but his instincts, especially what he did in the preseason, was really good.
Hmm. Let's see. Joe Gonzalez is saying we also got away from 12 personnel. Yeah, you're right. There was a lot of spreading the ball out. I saw Kellen Moore spreading that ball out, and that's where you couldn't see the offense moving. Once we kind of took a step back, that's where you see the offense moving again. So yeah, Joe, you're definitely right. We definitely got away from that. So you want to see Kellen Moore kind of, take that step back, and you're hoping that what Brian's saying about Mike is actually true, that he's actually able to kind of like cancel out some of those plays, so you're not seeing those triple reverses and stuff. You only see maybe a one wide receiver screen out of nowhere. So one thing that I was able to get out of this victory, and I think I've heard this saying many years, but the next man up. You're seeing this with the backup quarterback. You're seeing with a possible, everybody's talking about Donovan Wilson. What's going to happen with him when Kurtz gets back? I don't see the problem. I mean, Dan Quinn loves to run three safeties. They're both going to play. Yeah, they love to run three safeties. So I mean, you're just gonna, you got to figure out who that other one is and rotate. Here on, man, we love the safeties that they have in this locker room. So I'm not against having those guys out in the field. I'm just, more player makers the better. So Wilson's been doing really, really well, and I don't think that was ever the problem with Wilson. I think the Wilson just had a problem with staying healthy and staying on the field. So I think to see him consistently, making this play is not, out of his realm, but at the same time, it's just nice to see other people acknowledge him in the NFL. What do you think about, we're talking about the secondary. What do you think about Anthony Brown? There were some times where he was allowing some stuff. I don't know if you noticed what he was doing.
Yeah, I did. Anthony Brown, he's like hot and cold. Now, he's always consistent, but I think he gives up way too much room for the easy pass. And what he likes to do is let you catch it and then tackle you. Okay, well, that's good, but not if you're giving up 6-7 yards on first down. That's the bad thing with Anthony Brown. He's fast enough, but he don't want to have to. He don't want to get beat and give up a bigger play, and I get it. And against a team like Washington, it ultimately was the right move. Don't give up the big play or the big score. I mean, every team is going to have that one play, like Jahan Dotson. I actually called that too. I said, don't worry so much about Terry McLaurin. Worry about Dotson and the other guys.
And you're right. Yeah, Dotson was the one that ended up scoring the touchdown. So that was funny.
Yeah, there's always going to be one guy, like the week before, you can't stop. Saquon's going to break one on you. Yeah. That's just what he's going to do. So, that's not bad. If we keep doing what we're doing as far as what we're giving up scoring-wise, we're going to be fine. And if anybody who's a Cowboy fan watched the game, shout out to Cooper. He did well in the second half. But, man, he underthrew 2 balls that were intercepted yesterday, and the only reason he escaped were penalties away from the ball that had nothing to do with the play. He's throwing off his back foot. I mean, it did look good at times. Now, I'm not going to hammer him. He won the game, and people go, "Oh, he's 4-0 as a starting quarterback." That's all well and good, but
I think that goes around. I think that this goes around the same category. I mean, when you look at defense wins championships, I mean, you look at the Baltimore Ravens and when they won their championship, you had what was it? Trent Dilfer? What was it? Joe Flacco? I can't remember even who that quarterback was. I mean, then you got Tampa Bay with their amazing defense. They had Brad Johnson. So when I look at those, I mean, those guys were game managers, and all they had to do was put up like teens to 20 points, and that's what you have with with Cooper Rush, and I love the fact that he's not turning the ball over. So that's the difference, is the fact that you can score that many, that low amount of points as long as you're not turning the ball over and allowing your defense to kind of do the rest. So when you put a guy like Prescott, but he's the guy that's like sending that ball down the field. That's why on the in those other games he was scoring 40 to 40 something points, is because you have a quarterback that's can do that. So I don't see where there is no controversy. You had a quarterback 1, and you have a hell of a quarterback 2 that can win games when your quarterback 1 is out. And I think that's where it lies. I mean, I understand the whole hot streak, and maybe you allow him to continue on until the hot streak ends, and then you go ahead and put Dak in. But I mean, it just there's no rush. It was more
defense.
Yeah,
it was more defense.
And it's always
don't get me wrong. He made a couple plays, but there, the one play to. Who was it that they threw it downfield to? Was it Noah Brown? I mean,
he was wide open. Yeah, you're talking about CeeDee Lamb, or he took that shook. He shook that move. Like, it was a great. Like, Cooper would have been proud of Lamb with that move. I was very happy with him.
Right.
And Joe Gonzalez was right. There was that delay of game that wasn't called on that touchdown. So there was a lot of those little false starts and stuff like that. But it wasn't as bad.
False start. Yeah. It was the false start. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad.
I think the right tackle moved his leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he moved out of his stance or moved his leg out of his stance. I think
There,
yeah, that
there,
was a flag.
there was a couple of times where I saw
Yep.
that, but I didn't. If at least I felt like hey, we weren't committing all those dumb penalties like we normally give
Yeah,
those
we got
guys.
the better of the penalties, definitely. We
Yeah,
definitely got the better of the penalties. And I don't like a game like that. We won, and that's great. But just watching the game, I felt like Cooper Rush threw the 2 interceptions. There was penalties on the other side. I thought we got lucky. Like I said in the pregame yesterday with Mark, I didn't want to be the woe is me, or I didn't want to bring everybody down, but I was kind of like, I hope we win the game. But I hope that Cooper struggles, because the last thing Dak needs is this second group of mass people saying, Cooper Rush should be the guy. It's nowhere near like it was when Dak took over.
yeah.
Dak's the guy. I'll be curious to see what happens in LA. I was on record. You know, this is what I'll say. If we go in and beat the Rams, then we have a tough decision to make, because I want to beat the Eagles. That's more important to me. So if that means I only can get one win, obviously I want them to win both games. But being realistic, are we going to go on the road and win at the Rams and at the Eagles? We can.
We can,
But if you're telling me which one's more important, give me the Eagle game. So if we lose, it's an easy decision. If Cooper goes and we lose to the Rams, it's an easy decision. Dak is playing, assuming because he's practicing this week.
Yeah.
He wants to play this week, but I don't want Dak to play this week because it's probably not going to be good for him.
Yeah, I mean,
it's better off to win.
If they lose, there's no the Cooper Rush. It's going to be that whole thing, and you're going to give that part of the fandom just their kind of fuel to kind of just ignite that whole conversation.
Right,
so I'm definitely with you in there. I just allow Cooper Rush to kind of do his thing and see where they go. I mean, if you're not
win in LA, then I'm not going to argue if you want him to go into Philly, but I think you're opening up a can of worms. I think if we win in LA, okay, then to me, I got my 1 out of 2 that I wanted. You need to split one of the next 2 games. If you do that, you're most likely going to end up 6-2 at the break. Just looking at their schedule, not to get ahead of myself, but if they split one of the next 2, I think they're going to roll after that, because they're home against Chicago, they're home against Detroit. Tougher teams, but come on, Chicago can't do much.
Well, we got some good depth. I think that's what makes it so good. The good depth.
If we split one of the next 2, so if we win in LA, then you go with Dak against the Eagles. If we lose in LA, then you go with Dak against the Eagles. I mean, I think Dak needs to come back against the Eagles. That's just let it go, please, people.
So, anything else you want to bring out about the game? Everybody's kind of talking. It looks like Loyal Cowboy saying that his hand looked swollen. It did. I did see that in the broadcast as well, too. So
and if he's not ready, he shouldn't play. Yeah. Like I said, if he's not ready, I don't want him playing. But if he's ready to go and he's healthy, then he's your quarterback. But I don't want him playing this week. I want Cooper starting in LA. If Dak says, I could give it a go. No. Sorry, Dak. You're sitting another week. Yeah. I'm just saying if he's saying he's healthy. What I'll say is the game played out the way I wanted. Thank God they made the adjustments needed to win the game. The running game looked bad, but they were having a lot of 8-man fronts. That's another thing. I didn't study the tape against the Eagles, but the Eagles were able to run the ball against them. So that's a little concerning, but I doubt they played them the same way.
Yeah, I would say they changed their game plan up. That's what happened. Because
the Eagles have a mobile quarterback. Angelica. Hey, how are you, Angelica? Yeah, let's keep it rolling. I hear you. Yeah. It's funny because we're only 1 game behind the Eagles, and they're acting like they're going to the Super Bowl. So when they lose one,
yeah, I mean, even with the Giants, I mean, the Giants are right there. They're talking as well. I mean, it's still a very long season, especially as they add those games as well. So, I mean, the middle of the season could look totally different by the end of the season with the strength of schedules, of course, injuries and everything. And you need depth. And I think that's what I'm liking about this team is that at every position, I am seeing depth. I mean, there's some positions where, you lose more than, 2 guys, like your wide receivers, Gallup and James Washington being out. There was some cause for concern. You still had a star there, but you needed some other people. And it was nice to see a backup quarterback come back and the chemistry that he had had with one of those receivers actually show. So when Dak comes back, will Noah Brown be kind of the forgotten person, being back there?
Well,
So
that's on Dak. He needs to keep Noah hot because Noah's saved our bacon.
hmm
And now talking about receivers, what's your opinion on Michael Gallup? I mean, I
I
was
like to
happy
see.
with it.
Yeah, I like seeing him back. He scored the fact that he scored a touchdown here. Okay, I think I see a lot of the quarterbacks once they start to run that receivers don't run with them. They kind of don't break off their routes. And that's sometimes you don't see in a young receiver is that they don't stop. Okay, I'm running this route. Okay, wait a minute, the quarterback's in trouble. Maybe I should start running with him. And so I think I'm not really sure with Gallup's technically the route kind of caused him to go that way. But I know that when Rush started running that way, it was nice that Gallup was kind of running with him, and it gave Rush a target to be able to throw to. And I think that's what you're not seeing with some of these other guys. And even with a young guy like CeeDee Lamb, I mean, he's still kind of doing his thing, but it's nice to see somebody that can bring that veteran experience with them. So that's where I saw the little small things like that. The going downfield, trying to get something going on downfield, knowing that what you have in the corner that you're going against as well too. And so I liked it. I liked that he brought that extra dimension, that veteran leadership, and it kind of took the focus off of a lot of other people, even though he sometimes wasn't the main thing. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, definitely. Loyal Cowboy. Any word on Bohannon? Yeah, believe it or not, I was just looking that up a little while ago. Bohannon left the contest. He ended up with a minor shoulder strain. That's all it is, a sprain. It's a minor bruise on the shoulder. They're not expecting him to miss any extensive time. Him playing this week against the Rams is a stretch, though. That'll be a game time decision. I would probably not play him this week and get him ready for the divisional game against the Eagles. But yeah, it's just a minor shoulder sprain. I was thinking maybe a stinger the way he left the field, but he's doing good. But they're probably going to give it a week, so don't expect him to play against the Rams. But we'll see.
I haven't looked up, and I think I need to look up as well. What's going on with Curse? Do we know if he's going to be coming back soon?
He just wasn't ready. It was no re-aggravation. I thought the same thing, but in looking everything up, he just wasn't 100%. And I think with the game plan and who they were playing,
you could kind of take that step
I
back.
Think that was I think that was Dan Quinn giving him an extra week and letting Donovan Wilson do what he's been doing, man. Yeah. Donovan Wilson, shout out to him.
And I mean, that was
all over the place.
He was, and there was other games. In those other games, there was a tackle occasionally missed, or there was always that penalty that he got for 15 yards. But this game, he was balling. Like he was getting the tackles. He was doing his thing. He was filling his lanes. I was amazed by his performance.
He's right there with anybody as far as in the box, going the sideline. It's like he's all over the place. Which brings me the last thing I want to talk about that I got to get off my chest, Micah Parsons. You
being
saw
double, triple teams. Yeah.
You saw what can happen when they leave him on the end. You saw what can happen. Okay, if he plays every down at end,
they chip him.
They're gonna run right at him, and he's an undersized guy. They were running right at him. He's better when he's pursuing. He's better when I'm not saying don't blitz or don't rush from the end at all. But they moved him out of the end spot because in the first half they were saying, okay, the best way, and that's what we were always taught. Where's your toughest guy? We're gonna run right at you, and he is undersized for an end.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
When he was rushing up the middle or on the other side, off the right side, you have to move him around to maximize him. You have to. You can't just leave him at the end because they're going to run right at him. And then you basically take him out of the game. Yeah, he can make the tackle, but he's an undersized guy going up against guys that are 80 pounds heavier than him.
Yeah, Mark Hutchinson.
You know what I mean?
Mark Hutchinson is saying Parsons seems to have a lower back issue. And I think it was right in that play where he went and kind of just bent back between the two linemen. It wasn't even the lineman doing anything. He just, I don't know what happened. His feet kind of gave out.
Mark, he lost weight this year. So he's not.
I was expecting him to get bigger.
He's probably around 250, at 255, going up against left tackles that are over 300 pounds. down in and down out, and teams are saying we're going to run right at you.
Yeah.
We're tired of you, menacing our quarterbacks.
Yeah,
You have to rush him from up the middle, move him around. Don't let them get a dime on you. I like it better when we have, let's say, Armstrong and D-Law and Heaven coming up the middle. Now what? That's where Armstrong comes in. That's where Micah's pure athletic ability gets there anyway, against a center or a guard. That's not that I don't want him rushing from the end at all, but the last couple of games have showed you what can happen. So
yeah, I like what Joe says.
Joe
Yeah,
Gonzalez, our defense is deep. Next man up. Yeah.
No, she
one
goes
down,
Hydra.
two coming ready to play.
Yeah, one goes down, two come ready to play. I like it. Even McQuamu,
McQuamu
was making some plays as well on third down. So I saw it from everywhere. I mean, you got Fowler who was doing his thing as well. So Loyal Cowboy says,
Loyal Cowboy. Yeah, what's up with that?
Randy
Sorry,
Gregory.
Phil, me and you
no,
all
go
over
ahead.
it tonight.
No, it's okay because
I just heard Randy Gregory's going to miss time. I mean, really,
I
I wonder from what.
So I was jumping on the.
It's no surprise to us, right?
No, exactly. I mean, he was missing time with us as well too, getting flags and so. Joe says as well, because I felt like the Washington was doing a lot of run blitzing, and you're right. The 8 man in the box, they kind of took that approach for the first week. We're gonna take away the run, and we're gonna go ahead and just have you beat us in the pass. So go ahead. What was it? What's going on, Randy?
This is per Adam Schefter.
Good call, Loyal Cowboy.
Randy Gregory will be sidelined anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on how he recovers from the arthroscopic knee surgery he now needs. We already know it's not going to be 2 weeks.
No.
So he's out. He's out a month to 6 weeks.
Wow.
And they're already off to a horrible start.
Yeah. Wow.
They're already off to a horrible start.
Yeah, that's that offense can't seem to go. Kind of reminded me of ours
Did you
last
see
year.
the stat?
No, I didn't see.
Did you see the stat where Russell Wilson's stats are less than Geno Smith's stats? Geno Smith's killing him in numbers. Isn't that funny?
So who did
Geno Smith, who replaced him in Seattle?
Yeah, and Seattle just beat who? Like they just beat it by was it Lion? No, who was it? The Lions?
No. Let me look at it. No, Seattle
just.
There was no defense played in that game.
Yeah,
it's not your old Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I just know that.
Yeah, they beat the Lions. Yeah, they beat the Lions. It was a joke of a game yesterday. The final score of that one was 48-45. A real defensive battle.
Yeah, I like what they're like when we were talking about this game. And the ladies are getting on it right now with Gallup, for example. Goes a big moment was when Coop rolled out and hit Gallup in the back of the end zone. I mean,
Angelica, that's what we were saying. That's what I was saying. I want to see him on the move a little more. You get him on the spot. I understand he's not mobile, but you don't have to be mobile to move a little bit. And it gave time for Gallup because that's a very long developing where he goes down to the end of the end zone, makes a right, and basically streaks the whole length of the end zone. And it's hard for a defensive back. Mm-hmm. And they scheme it to where the other guys are going the other way to open up the field, but it takes time to develop. So, yeah, exactly. Angelica, that was a good read on that one.
Yeah, I mean, even for example, that one with CeeDee Lamb where he makes that double move to the corner and the inside route allowed him, and that safety was pulled in. So it was a great job. I mean, a very good read as well too. So I mean, but when with you, I see some problems when he is, going downfield outside the hash. I tend to see those deeper balls aren't as accurate. And not every quarterback is perfect. There's always going to be some kind of weakness to his game. So, you want to see him improve in that category, but obviously timing routes as well too. So the comeback routes, all those things on the sideline, it just seems like he tends to have problems with. So I know next week is going to get really tough for this defense. So it's going to be, in the sense I'm not, when I look at the secondary, I look at a guy like, Kupp. That's going to be a handful. I mean, it doesn't matter, what kind of scheme you tend to have on him. He can tend to get open. So I'm interested to see what this defense does with him, and so we'll talk more about that as well. I'm not surprised again.
I see Cowboys corner in here.
Yeah, he's been in here.
What's up, Mike?
I'm not surprised with
What's up,
Carson
Mike?
Wentz
What's
and
up,
his
buddy?
performance. Carson Wentz did Carson Wentz things. There were some times where he could have thrown the ball away, or he makes a nice little move, but then that second and third thought is just a sack on third down, intentional groundings. So I
Right.
think this is what we were talking about when it came to Carson Wentz, is that he's going to give you some good, hopeful. And this is not the end of Carson Wentz this season. There's going to be some games where Carson Wentz is going to put together a string of games where everybody's going to be like, "Oh, Carson Wentz MVP,"
Listen,
and then
that's why I love our schedule so much. This is why I like our schedule. We're getting all these road divisional games out of the way now. We've already played the Giants, right? We go to the Eagles, right? And Washington's the only game, and that's the last game of the year. Washington is going to have mailed it in by that point, probably fighting for the number one pick. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's all bad. They're going to ultimately. I mean, I don't know if it's number one pick, but like top 5 type pick. They're probably going to draft yet another quarterback. I mean, I see it now. So I always worry about those schedules where we have to go to the Meadowlands after December, go to the link. We're playing the Eagles in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's not going to be that bad.
My whole thing is I do not mind what's going on in this season with them. I want them to get their hopes up. I mean, how many times do we sit here year in and year out seeing Hurts do his thing, doing the running thing, and he's doing that like crazy against.
Yeah.
Right now, we know as Cowboy fans, we can look at the schedule and go, okay, you took on the team that took the first pick in the draft and you barely beat them. Then you took the Lions. They weren't top 5 when it comes to draft picking as well. I mean, you look at these teams that you've beaten. I'm not saying you still have beaten them. I mean, but the fact that you're trying to crown yourself, I'm hoping that this game, kind of humbled you a little bit. But no, I still see the arrogance coming out of their corner, and I don't mind it because Jalen Hurts has his last year's contract. We all know how people are on the last year of the contract. What is it going to take to keep him in Philadelphia? It's not going to be $20 million contract, okay? So to keep him there, I don't mind him balling out this year to give them that hope, to go ahead and sign him for the future and not have money to spend somewhere else. So, take it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not here to hate on anybody, but I'm still not a Jalen Hurts fan. The Eagles are loving him, and that's great. But you watch what a defense like Dallas is going to do to him. You heard it here. Just wait and see. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win the game on the road. No. Just watch what happens, okay? We're not going to let him just run. That's not going to happen. Dan Quinn won't.
Yeah, I heard that Slay went down.
So you're going to have to sit in the pocket under duress.
I heard
Dallas plays him well.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they got a team that rushes very well, and they can get to the ball if he starts to get out. So, I mean, he'll do his rushing thing. I mean, that's the main thing. And as we talk about Eagles, we talk. It's AJ Brown. He just had a kid, and so that's why he
Brown's the real deal.
He's a great receiver. I thought
he's a real deal.
Seeing how Tennessee has dropped off with not having that receiver in there, with those 2 receivers being gone. Hey, I got to give him credit, man. He's doing it really good. He's
open every down on the slant, and he's such a big body that it's very hard to stop. I mean, literally, he's open all the time.
Did I hear that
he's a good guy for him?
Did I hear that Slay got hurt? Darius Slay.
I don't know about.
I heard that he got hurt.
I don't know about big play Slay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like hearing that.
That was going to be my last comment about the Eagles and the rivalry going forward. We're basically going to wrap this up soon. And Mark's got his live coming up at 9. It's all going to come down to who can stay healthy. We're winning despite not having our starting quarterback. We're winning despite not having Gallup.
Our starting left tackle.
Yeah, we're winning without having Schultz. He came back. I mean, we're winning with losing Tyron Smith. Just think about that. The Eagles haven't lost anybody of that magnitude. We've lost literally 4 guys.
And our green
Tyron,
dot.
you can say whatever you want. He's a great player when he's healthy. So
yeah, even our green dot on defense. I mean, you look at a lot of those guys as well too. I mean, people had to step away.
Yeah,
and so you're right.
The J-Ron's curse. I mean, there you go. I mean, I can keep naming them. We've had a lot of injuries already, and we just keep getting the job done. It may not be pretty, but it's a dub.
Yeah, they don't need to be. They don't need
so that's all that really matters.
Yeah, exactly. History doesn't remember this. So, but anyways, yeah, man, I'm excited about it. You know, Cooper Rush, congratulations. Like I said last week with the 4-0. You know, most of the time when we've had starting quarterbacks for the Dallas Cowboys, it's always been dire situations. And not saying that
I'm
Cooper
still
Rush coming
confused on
in.
that 4-0 thing, though. I'm still confused because
They want to count Minnesota.
is it 4-0 or is it backup quarterback 4-0? I don't know. I read the stat too, but
normal season.
after thinking about it, didn't Dak do that? I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm just confused with it, but everybody's saying it, so it must be true.
But anyways, prayers to Terry Bradshaw. He announced that he's battling cancer. Oh, that sucks, man. Definitely prayers go out to him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that
you know
sucks.
what? I hate to say it, but I saw him. He didn't look good week 1. Or was it week 2? I don't know. When he was doing his broadcast, he looked pale and
yeah, he looks a little weak.
Man, I hope he's gonna be okay.
Yeah, man, he's a funny dude. Funny dude. But
Yeah.
Bryan, thank you again for coming on, man. A hell of a victory. Even I'll take it. You know, it may have been ugly, but it looks nice on the score sheet at the final end. The stats are there.
We're 2-0 in the division,
and I think that is a key. And I was going to say that, man. We are taking each other's stuff right there. I like it, man.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I don't mean to step on your toes.
No, you're good. That's what I was doing to you earlier. So that works exactly well, man. I know I'm excited. We're going to be here, of course, on Saturday to talk about the next game for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, the Rams are right around the corner, man. It's going to be a hell of a test, whether it is the backup quarterback or whether it's a starting quarterback coming back. It's still going to be a hell of a test for either one. So I think we just need to be happy as Cowboy Nation to say, hey, we got a quarterback that's coming back as a number one that, he's a hell of a quarterback. He's a hell of a leader. And then we have a capable backup, and that's always what you want. Because if you look at any time during those Super Bowl years, and I know I'm going back to that, but, when Aikman was down, we had to go to a backup quarterback to get us to that next game to allow Aikman.
Absolutely. So shout out to Mark Holmes is in the chat.
Hey, Mark, we're going to be over there.
That's the hardest working man in YouTube right there. Anybody that wants to talk shit, I don't know if anybody saw my little quick video. There's a lot of shit talking going on in the YouTube community regarding Mark Holmes. All I know is I've seen him behind the scenes. He leaves his house to people and says, I'll be back. I got to go do 3 errands and go to take somebody up. The man's constantly moving, man. So anybody that don't know him and just out there stirring shit up, don't believe it. He's just take it from me, man. I've been there multiple times. The guy's nothing but gracious, and not many people would open up their house to people that are non-family like he does to us. So
who do you got tonight?
Shout out to Mark Combs. Thanks, buddy. I love you.
So who do you got tonight? You got the Rams or the 49ers in tonight's matchup? Do you think the 49ers can take it to them twice? Oh, and Vato's auto team whooped my butt. So just to let you know on fantasy.
I did see that, and I'm going to lose to Randy Stites, so I'm going to give him the ultimate weekend. I picked him up from the airport. I carted him back and forth to Mark's all weekend, and then he beat me in fantasy. So you're welcome, Randy. I love you too.
Said Mark, Local Cowboys trying to get his bet going on with that blue chip, man. But who do you got? The Rams or the 49ers?
I'm going to go with the Rams. 49ers don't look like the same team to me.
You never know with Garoppolo. He could turn it on all of a sudden. Sometimes that's what he loves to do.
He can, but after the last year, I don't want to see them win. Right. They were ignorant and arrogant, and they came in and beat our ass. So, let's go Rams. Let's play the Rams next week. Here, coming off a win, right?
Exactly.
That's how I'm looking at it. Let's play the Rams where we won a divisional game. Maybe they'll have a letdown because we're going to have the crowd.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to hit you off with the ending video. I'm going to hit you guys as well in the chats as well. See if you guys like this.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do? You're like a little screw loose type of guy, and I thought that's how I am. So. I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studios.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil. And, of course, my co-host, Game time, Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode.
$100,000. I don't even need to hear it.